Welcome to US Briefing. The content of the briefing includes Asia in 2024, new leader in Taiwan, Indonesia shifts capital, Paris Olympics. Capitals close 2023 with shootout loss to Predators and four-game skid. Led by Trump, GOP candidates take polarizing stances on race and history. World prepares to ring in 2024, bid farewell to a turbulent 12 months. North Korea warns to expect more nuclear weapons and war at any time in 2024. Asia in 2024, new leader in Taiwan, Indonesia shifts capital, Paris Olympics. Nikkei Asia. The year 2023 was marked by regional conflicts, natural disasters, and a fragile economic recovery in Asia. However, as we enter 2024, there are several significant events and elections that could reshape the region. In January, Bangladesh will hold its parliamentary elections, followed by Taiwan's presidential and legislative elections. In February, Myanmar will mark the third anniversary of the military's power seizure, and Pakistan will hold its general election. Indonesia will hold its presidential and legislative elections in February as well. In March, Russia will hold its presidential election, and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida will visit Washington. In April, Formula One motor racing will return to Shanghai, South Korea will hold parliamentary elections, and India will hold its general elections. In May, trade ministers from APEC countries will meet in Peru. In June, the G7 summit will be held in Italy, and Tokyo will hold its gubernatorial election. In July, Paris will host the Summer Olympic Games, and Indonesia will begin relocating its capital to Borneo. In August, Indonesia's President Joko Widodo will transfer top government functions to the new capital. In September, Semicon Taiwan, a vital chip industry fair, will be held. In October, Indonesia's new president will take office. In November, the US will hold its presidential election, and the G20 summit will be held in Brazil. In December, Singapore's Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong is set to step down, and Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing company's Kumamoto factory will begin shipping. These events and elections will have significant implications for the region and could shape the political, economic, and social landscape of Asia in 2024. Capitals close 2023 with shootout loss to Predators and four-game skid. Washington Post. The Washington Capitals entered Saturday night's game at Capital One Arena, their final game of 2023, desperate for a bounce back. Though they gave up the first two goals to the Nashville Predators, the Capitals responded to force overtime, then take the game to a shootout. But despite the comeback, despite finding a way to dig out of an early hole, Washington came up short in the shootout to lose, 3-2, and end the calendar year with 4 consecutive losses, 2 in regulation and 2 in shootouts. Led by Trump, GOP candidates take polarizing stances on race and history. Washington Post. The 3 leading Republican presidential candidates have been accused of distorting historical events and using inflammatory language when discussing race. Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, and Nikki Haley have all made controversial statements that have divided opinion in the U.S. The comments risk alienating independent and moderate voters, but have also found support among conservative Americans who resent what they see as liberal attempts to force the country to apologize for its past and who feel threatened by demographic and cultural change. Despite the criticism, Trump continues to use rhetoric that echoes Adolf Hitler, while DeSantis has defended a curriculum that claimed slaves developed skills that could be used to their advantage. Haley, meanwhile, failed to mention slavery as a cause of the Civil War in a town hall event. The Republican Party has been accused of being out of touch and unwilling to adapt to changing attitudes, and the candidates' comments have led some to question whether the party's focus on polarizing racial themes could alienate swing voters in the approaching elections. World prepares to ring in 2024, bid farewell to a turbulent 12 months. South China Morning Post. As the world welcomes in the new year, it reflects on the challenges and milestones of 2023. The year was marked by a range of events, including climate crises, wars in Gaza and Ukraine, and the rise of artificial intelligence. It was also the hottest year on record and saw India become the most populous country in the world. As the new year begins, many hope for a better year ahead, free from conflict and with a focus on addressing global issues such as climate change. North Korea warns to expect more nuclear weapons and war at any time in 2024. ABC. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has vowed to launch 3 new spy satellites, build military drones, and boost the country's nuclear arsenal in 2024. While addressing 5 days of ruling party meetings, Kim said U.S. policy was making war inevitable and ordered the military to prepare to pacify the entire territory of South Korea, including with nuclear bombs if necessary. Experts predict that North Korea will maintain a campaign of military pressure in order to increase any leverage ahead of the U.S. presidential elections in November. Taiwan's covert extended-range missile poses limited threat to Chinese mainland. South China Morning Post. An article in a major Chinese military magazine claims that Taiwan's extended-range Sungsheng missile, capable of striking mainland China, is limited in its threat. The article argues that the missile's size, subsonic speed, and lack of stealth technology make it vulnerable to detection. It also suggests that Taiwan has limited capabilities in reconnaissance and missile guidance, making the missile less precise and more prone to interference. Beijing has consistently claimed sovereignty over Taiwan, which it considers a province of China. Defying U.S. pressure, Israel deepens Gaza assault. New York Times. The Israeli military has said that it had destroyed an apartment in Gaza City that belonged to the person it considers the mastermind of the attack on Israel, Yahya Sinwar. Israel has been conducting airstrikes on the Gaza Strip for the past 12 weeks and has now clashed with Hamas militants. The Gaza Health Ministry has reported that 165 people had been killed in Israeli airstrikes and artillery attacks over the previous 24 hours. Since the war began, over 20,000 people have been killed in the Gaza Strip and the death toll continues to rise. The Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, is facing increasing pressure from the United States and other nations to lower the conflict's intensity. However, he has said that Israel will be deepening the fighting in the coming days. The Biden administration said that it was bypassing Congress for the second time since the war started to sell weapons to Israel. The State Department approved a proposed $147.5 million sale of artillery munitions to Israel. The why behind the effort to recruit Romney for president in 2024. Yahoo! An effort is underway to convince Senator Mitt Romney to run for president on a bipartisan ticket. The draft Romney-Manchin committee aims to provide the numbers to prove to Romney and Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat West Virginia, and their third-party vehicle, No Labels, that the two-time presidential candidate and his hypothetical running mate have a pathway to victory. The committee, which launched a petition gathering signatures of those interested in seeing a bipartisan ticket bridge the divide between political extremes, is currently asking for donations to fund polling in Arizona, Michigan, and other swing states. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your trusted observer from the 6 Degrees world. As we enter 2024, there are several events and elections in Asia that could reshape the region. From parliamentary elections in Bangladesh, presidential elections in Taiwan and Indonesia, to significant trade meetings and the Summer Olympics in Paris, these events will have far-reaching implications for the political, economic, and social landscape of Asia. In the world of sports, the Washington Capitals ended the year with a shootout loss, marking their 4th consecutive loss. It's been a tough end to the year for the team, but let's hope they can bounce back in the new year and regain their winning form. On the political front in the U.S., the leading Republican presidential candidates have been accused of distorting historical events and using inflammatory language when discussing race. These controversial statements have divided opinion and risk alienating independent and moderate voters. It's a reminder that politics can often be a polarizing field, and candidates must tread carefully to avoid alienating swing voters. As the world prepares to ring in the new year, we reflect on the challenges and milestones of 2023. It was a year marked by climate crises, wars, and the rise of artificial intelligence. But as we enter 2024, there is hope for a better year ahead, with a focus on addressing global issues such as climate change. However, amidst this hope, North Korea has issued a warning, vowing to launch new spy satellites, build military drones, and boost its nuclear arsenal. Experts predict that North Korea will maintain a campaign of military pressure, potentially increasing its leverage ahead of the U.S. presidential elections in November. It's a reminder that geopolitical tensions continue to simmer and could have far-reaching implications. In the realm of military capabilities, a Chinese military magazine claims that Taiwan's extended-range missile, capable of striking the Chinese mainland, poses a limited threat. The article suggests that the missile's size, speed, and lack of stealth technology make it vulnerable to detection and interference. It highlights the complex dynamics between Taiwan and China, with Beijing consistently claiming sovereignty over Taiwan. Amidst all these events and developments, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict continues to escalate. The Israeli military has intensified its airstrikes on the Gaza Strip, resulting in a rising death toll. The international community, including the United States, has called for de-escalation, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has stated that the fighting will be deepened in the coming days. It's a reminder that conflicts in the Middle East remain a pressing concern that requires urgent attention. Lastly, on the domestic front in the U.S., there is an effort to convince Senator Mitt Romney to run for president on a bipartisan ticket. The draft Romney-Manchin committee aims to bridge the political divide and provide a pathway to victory. It's an interesting development that reflects the desire for more bipartisan collaboration in American politics. As we navigate through these events and developments in 2024, it's important to stay informed and engaged. I invite you, my observant audience, to share your thoughts and questions. What are your ideas and perspectives on these news stories? Let's continue the conversation and explore the world together. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.